Call of Duty Vanguard was a release that I was hyped for. After the reimagining of Modern Warfare that offered so much more gritty and realistic approach to the COD franchise campaign-wise, and the branching narrative offered by Black Ops, I really thought the narrative of Vanguard was going to be one that really hammers home the fact that the campaign can still be one of the main components of a COD game. After finishing it, whilst I can't say it wasn't bad, it did leave me feeling as if not enough risks were taken, and on top of this, it was really just a toe dip of a campaign that left a lot to be desired. So let us analyse the campaign, and I will give you my honest thoughts and opinions on why it misses the mark. Vanguard throws you into the finale of the Second World War. A train hurtling through Hamburg carries our protagonists who have just been grouped together by Kingsley, a bilingual master tactician who narrates your way through the campaign. Before I carry on, I will say that visually, the game is stunning, and each actor does an insane job with their performance. Sometimes I died just getting too caught up in the scenery. Like, I'm trying to take a screenshot of the landscape and I've got some Aryan dude trying to cave my skull in with a Kar 98. Making up the rest of the team, you've got Webb, who acts as Kingsley's right-hand man. You only ever see the beginning of their friendship, and it doesn't really go into too much depth about how the relationship bloomed. He spends so little time on screen that, to be completely honest, you don't really gain a full understanding of their connection, and I think that's partially down to the writing, which I will discuss further in terms of how it lets this game down in many respects. Petrova, the Russian sniper that's based on Pavlyuchenko, that Lady Death, that Russian female sniper from World War II for the Soviets, probably has the best story arc in the game, going from like a hopeful medic to a beacon of hope for the Russian soldiers throughout the game. The war she's so desperate to be involved in crashes into her life and takes a loving father and brother, which in turn makes her a cold, calculated killer, using her father's sniper to take vengeance on anyone wearing a Hugo Boss army uniform. There's a bit of highbrow comedy for you there. Jackson is an American pilot and is very much the stereotypical guy from Brooklyn who's careless and gets things done his way and blah 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 blah. Boring, boring, boring. It's done. So it's been done so many times, it's just sort of a standard. There you go. Here's the fucking Brooklyn pilot who he likes things rough and ready and he does things his way. He's writing fucking checks his body can't cash. Get in the bin. Also, you've got Riggs, who's Australian and is part of the Australian contingent labelled Rats that fought in Tobruk. Again, it's the sort of disregard for authority and loose cannon explosive expert stereotype. Now, both Riggs and Jackson sort of like battle it out throughout the narrative to be like the wild card.
Wild card, bitches! Yeah!
Really, it's just all one-dimensional bollocks. Now, you start off as a character, Novak. That's who you begin the campaign as, but you sort of get like curb stomped by Tesco value Christoph Waltz from Inglourious Bastards.
That's a bingo. You just say bingo.
Like I said before, the game actually starts off really promising. You're hurtling towards Hamburg on this train filled with Nazis. It's all close quarter combat. You're being introduced to each of the different members of the group through their skills taking out enemies. And most of the game is centered around this one singular event, which makes the story clear and concise rather than sort of jumping back and forth all the time, which is something personally I believe a lot of the other Call of Duties are guilty of. Usually with games based around either World War I or World War II, it's the fact that they bounce around different battles within world wars with no real correlation between the events apart from the fact that you're either allies or Axis, and it's all just sort of like, hey, it was all the same war, so let's link it all in together. But this is done cleverly. It intertwines all of the characters by Kingsley discussing the battles that they were involved in and how he's noticed them, which in turn allows you to bounce all over the continents that were involved in the war without it really pulling away from the story too much. It's cool because it allows the game to give you missions like the pilot flying missions, which at first seem promising but just sort of devolve into some fucking weak on-rail shooter. It doesn't play well and it's so restrictive it is almost a downgrade from just being on foot and shooting at people. Like, it might as well just be a fucking cutscene. Or the Battle of El Alamein, which is probably one of the most famous sort of tank battles in history, and you're on foot for that mission, actually. I mean, I saw a tank. Yeah, no, I didn't. Each character has a different perk in the game that you can use throughout, like the sniper being able to scuttle through crawl spaces that other people can't go, or the pilot being able to focus, which reveals all of the enemy's locations even if they're behind cover. Again, cool little additions, but nothing that really makes me sit back and go, wow, this is a new era of COD. And I think once that you peel back this top layer of the game, not only is it really average, it's not even real progression on the games that have come before it. I've played this game on Veteran, I blasted through the campaign in like 5 hours, but it doesn't make the enemies more intelligent or increase the amount of enemies that you face. It just makes some of the enemies have this fucking zip-like aim that as soon as you pop your forehead out from cover, they blow your fringe out over the wall. Basic amateur shit. AI get. The maps don't really offer any exploration. It's just all small sandboxes, poorly designed, that make you feel as if you can explore, but you can't. You're just penalised for going off mission in a battlefield. How does that even work? I can see the guy there. I'm walking towards the guy and it's saying, you are going away from the mission area. The stealth mechanics on the game are poor, and even if you're spotted, immediately the enemy know where you are. Even playing as a sniper, you try and use the small vents and furniture to break lines of sight, but no, the Nazis just continue to hunt you down knowing exactly where you've gone and exactly where you're going. Whilst the cutscenes are good, there are loads of scripted moments in the game that just sort of like drag you out of the immersion. Now, I know that there was a heavy influence from a film director on this, and you can feel that with a lot of interaction sort of taken from the player and just sort of drip fed to them in cutscenes and scripted moments. One part, late on in the game, a guy with a flamethrower can't have his tank blown up by shooting at it, as when it does blow up, it's like a mini cutscene where you can see the bullet fly in slow-mo, and it's just so fucking lazy. Let me decide if I want to shoot the tank or I want to shoot him in the head. And when I do shoot the tank, then trigger the fucking cutscene. Instead, it feels as if the game holds your hand almost to provide you with this interactive movie experience at times, and that's just not what Call of Duty is. If you cast your mind back to Modern Warfare, Clean House revolutionised Call of Duty missions. It was the polar opposite of any mission you had ever seen before. It was slow paced, based on intense, spread moments of interaction that forced you to meticulously approach each room with care. Or Black Ops, which allowed you to do missions in your own order, introducing a hub where missions would be triggered, allowing you to enter conversations with the characters away from the missions, which developed the characters and the overall narrative. Here, it's a step back. Almost none of this has been embraced. And yes, I know they're different companies, but it's all the same shit. It's all Call of Duty now. There shouldn't be any separation between the two. It's all just a massive gangbang of companies working on the same title. They will pick from each other's... No, don't tell me they don't. I know they do. And the story, away from each character's origin, the main story is so run-of-the-mill and vague. I don't even think the writers knew where they were going with it. I feel as if they had the idea for the characters first and then just sort of fucking Frankenstein the dog shit out of it. The group of characters uncover a plan called Operation Phoenix that the Nazis are trying to carry out, which is so obvious and run-of-the-mill. I thought Kingsley was just going to order everyone to stay on the fucking train, get off at King's Cross and fuck off home. We're Nazis and we're going to start our own Reich is the fictional World War II story equivalent of, and then I woke up and it was all a dream. I thought they were really going to take risks on this. For a moment I thought Operation Phoenix was going to be a segue into zombies and the two modes were going to intertwine. Phoenix rising from the ashes almost literally. I thought this because the main characters take so long to actually work out what's going on. I thought, maybe this isn't as obvious as I thought. But no, it is. The characters just fucking stupid. And at the end, you can tell that they're so desperate to make a sequel, with the characters finding these caches of files that just sort of don't really mean anything. They just sort of go, we've hit the jackpot, boys. What? Explain what? What have you found? It just sort of teases a sequel, which I'm willing to bet nobody's going to ask for, but it will just be vomited onto us because Call of Duty will just always release a game a year from now on, with no real guidelines for quality or development. The game reeks of being rushed, underthought, and after the big speech from the panel about Call of Duty having no iconic characters, I feel like barring Petrova, none of them hold a candle to Captain Price, Dmitri, Soap, Reznov, Mason. Fucking the level of disrespect is absolutely unbelievable.